The second season of Castlevania Nocturne has just been released, and after waiting well over a year for this next installment, it's safe to say that it definitely delivered. Focusing on Ed as she sought to bring on eternal darkness while holding on to the soul of Seed, the goddess of war and healing, Roar Belmont, Annette, Alucard, and Maria faced an uphill battle to prevent the eternal night from occurring. We should jump into the show and separate all there was to detract from it. Here's Castlevania Nocturne Season 2 closure made sense of. Simply a heads up, this will contain spoilers. This whole season rotated around the chase after the preserved body of Seed, an Egyptian goddess who once strolled the earth. Uret looked for the carcass since, in such a case that she got the Ba and Ka, she would turn out to be sufficiently strong to achieve an everlasting overshadowing. This would permit her to rise as the vampire savior and god, driving everybody to stoop before her. The never-ending obscurity would likewise empower vampires to openly meander. Between episodes 2 and 5, we saw Dalter searching for the right vessel to carry the soul of Seed. However, those who weren't strong enough burned before her. In 1614 CE, she learned of Countess Elizabeth B and her cruel nature, believing she would be powerful enough to become a god. This came to fruition once the eternal darkness was brought upon Paris after Elizabeth consumed the heart of the corpse. A fierce battle ensued. Roar Belmont, Misrach, Maria, Alucard, and Annette fought against Elizabeth. Maria had a significant arc this season. She spent much of it conflicted about her powers and whether to use them for good or evil. She even considered having her mother turn her into a vampire. However, with the guidance of Juice, Maria realized that evil wasn't her path. This realization came after she burned her father to ashes, holding him responsible for what happened to her mother, who had become a vampire. By the season's end, Maria's powers were no longer tainted by darkness. The light within her symbolized her commitment to the side of good. She chose to remain in Paris with Alucard and Juice, protecting the city from lingering threats, whether they were vampires or political forces. Her resolve was clear when she declared that those who aided the vampires deserved to die. Tara's moment of reflection while witnessing someone facing the guillotine hinted at potential danger. Death itself stood behind her, suggesting that her quest for self-discovery might soon bring trouble for her and her daughter. Ol Rock had an intriguing arc this season. Despite hints of betrayal and his branding by Drala, his actions revealed a more complex side. When Misrach was wounded, Ol Rock chose to save him by turning him into a vampire. This act could lead to future resentment from Maria, but for now, it prevented Misrach from succumbing to his fate. Roar Belmont's love for Annette was a driving force this season. Fighting during the darkness, he displayed a strength we hadn't seen before, fueled by his present-day purpose rather than revenge. While this season focused more on Annette and her power, Roar's role remained pivotal. He delivered the final blow to Dalter, ending her reign of terror by slashing her in half. Roar and Annette bonded over their shared losses and similarities. His promise to always be by her side gave Annette the strength to return from the spirit world after Seed united the three souls and restored balance. Together, they set off for Sandang at the season's conclusion. Annette's journey this season revealed a depth of character that was both inspiring and emotionally resonant. The second season of Castlevania Nocturne has finally arrived, and after a year of anticipation, it's safe to say that it exceeded expectations on many fronts. The narrative delved deeper into themes of inner strength, sacrifice, and the blurred line between light and darkness. At its heart, the season revolved around Ed's relentless quest to bring about an eternal darkness, a plan hinging on the soul of Seet, the Egyptian goddess of war and healing. This existential threat set the stage for a gripping struggle as Roar Belmont, Annette, Alucard, and Maria joined forces to thwart the apocalyptic event known as the Eternal Night. Their journey was fraught with physical and emotional challenges, forcing each character to confront their fears, test their limits, and embrace their destinies. Annette, in particular, became a symbol of resilience, courageously navigating the spirit world while grappling with her purpose and identity. This season not only expanded the lore of the series but also elevated its characters, making the stakes feel higher and the story even more compelling. Let's dive into the show and break down everything that stood out. Here is the Castlevania Nocturne Season 2 ending explained. Just a heads up, this discussion contains spoilers. Castlevania Nocturne Season 2 ending explained. This entire season revolved around the hunt for the mummified corpse of Set, an Egyptian goddess who once walked the earth. Urette wanted the corpse because, with the Ba and the Ka, she would become powerful enough to bring about an eclipse that would last forever. This would make her the vampire messiah and goddess, with everyone kneeling before her. The eternal darkness would also allow vampires to roam freely without fear of sunlight. Throughout episodes 2 to 5, we saw Drolta searching for a worthy vessel to carry Set's soul. However, many people she tried to use burned up because they weren't strong enough. It wasn't until 1614 CE, when she learned of Countess Elizabeth Bathory and her evil nature, that she found a candidate cruel and powerful enough to become a god. This culminated in the eternal darkness being unleashed on Paris after Elizabeth consumed the corpse's heart. This season's climactic battle was a spectacular convergence of tension, emotion, and action, involving Richter Belmont, Maria, Alucard, Annette, and Juste as they faced off against the formidable Elizabeth. Each character brought their unique strengths to the fight, but it was Maria's journey that stood out as a profound arc of self-discovery and transformation. Maria's internal struggle over how to use her immense powers became a central theme throughout the season. At one point, she grappled with the idea of embracing darkness, even going so far as to consider allowing her mother to turn her into a vampire. This internal conflict was fueled by deep resentment toward her father, whom she blamed for her mother's transformation into a creature of the night. In a moment of fury, Maria burned her father to ashes, an act that symbolized the depth of her anger and grief. By the season's end, Maria's growth was undeniable. She not only found clarity about the kind of person she wanted to be but also became a beacon of hope and resilience for those around her. Her newfound resolve played a critical role in the climactic battle, as her light-infused powers became instrumental in combating the overwhelming darkness brought by Elizabeth. Maria's arc wasn't just a personal victory, it was a testament to the power of redemption, forgiveness, and the strength found in choosing one's path, even in the face of immense pain and uncertainty. Another intriguing moment was when Tara looked at the person facing the guillotine and saw death standing behind them. This might foreshadow that death awaits her in future seasons, hinting at more trouble for her and Maria. Alucard's character arc this season was compelling as well. While his loyalties initially seemed uncertain, he ultimately sided with the heroes. After being branded by Dracula, he stayed close to Miss Ratch. In a heartbreaking turn, Miss Ratch's death prevented a final blow to Drolta, allowing her to momentarily prevail. However, Alucard redeemed himself by assisting Richter in the final battle. Annette, meanwhile, spent much of the season grappling with the spirits she encountered. It turned out that part of everyone existed in the spirit world, which meant she needed to retrieve the third part of Set's soul from there. This journey was fraught with danger as she nearly burned out as an unworthy vessel. However, with Richter's encouragement and the support of Orin and her mother, she found the strength to return. Annette's battle culminated in a satisfying resolution, as she brought balance back to the world. Why Drolta was such an interesting character? Drolta stood out as one of the most intriguing characters of the season. Her evil nature stemmed from witnessing the suffering of those she cared about and being a victim of violence. She initially supported Urette's rise to power but betrayed her when she deemed her unworthy. Despite orchestrating much of the chaos, Drolta's character remained deeply complex. She ultimately embodied the very thing she once feared, making her a fascinating antagonist. What was the Black Figure? The Black Figure seen throughout the season was referred to as Old Man Coyote by Alucard. This haunting, nightmare-born entity dragged the souls of the dead to the underworld. Its presence in key moments, including the final scenes with Tara, hinted at its significance in the broader story. The figure is likely a visual representation of death, retrieving souls and adding a chilling layer to the narrative. Its design and ominous nature made it unforgettable, and its role could expand in future seasons. Castlevania Nocturne Season 2 Review. Season 2 surpassed the first season in many ways. The story had a straightforward, engaging structure that made it both immersive and digestible. Flashbacks provided depth to Urette and Drolta's characters, enhancing the narrative. Visually, the season was stunning. The large-scale fight scenes were epic, and the animation style, especially during Annette's spirit world journey, was breathtaking. The vortex visuals were a standout. The performances were also excellent. Urette was menacing, while Richter embodied the archetypal hero with warmth and determination. Alucard's wisdom and humor, paired with Just's steady presence, added a comforting dynamic. The pacing was spot on. With 30-minute episodes, the season avoided unnecessary filler, maintaining a tight, engaging flow. However, one missed opportunity was delving deeper into Edward's story. While his redemption arc was touching, it felt underexplored. Overall, this season was a thrilling ride, capped by a climactic battle that leaves viewers eagerly anticipating a third season.